Doug here. This week's bonus episode is a real special one that's near and dear to my heart. Growing up in the tri-state area, when you're in the car, whether you're going to work, you're going to school, you listen to Z100 and you listen to Elvis Duran. We were lucky enough to interview a real staple of that show since the mid-90s, Skeery Jones. We talked phone taps, how he got started. We even talked about the time he was on Blind Date. This guy was working all morning, show's on for 4 hours, probably obviously gets there early. He's like, I'll give you 15 minutes to chat. And it was awesome. It's kind of intimidating because I've listened to him my whole life. And I've interviewed, obviously, you guys, it's your first episode, welcome. If you listen to a bunch, I've interviewed a lot of big names. And just knowing somebody that's professionally a speaker on the radio, it was a little intimidating, but he was awesome. So here's Skeery Jones.
Hey, Skeery. How are you?
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
Good, man. Thanks so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Is this Doug?
Yeah.
Hi, how's everything, Doug?
Pretty good. I've been hearing you like my whole life in the morning.
Ha! I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being there with us. It really does mean a lot.
Yeah. So is this something you always wanted to do, like work in radio?
Are you kidding me? I grew up listening to radio my entire life with my father and mother. I used to call radio stations. I used to call Z100 as a kid and get on the radio and I cassette record myself.
Where'd you grow up? Did you grow up in the tri-state area?
I grew up in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I grew up in Jersey. I didn't know that. You know what's funny? There's so many people, like we interview these actors that aren't in a lot of things, and they have like a full-on Wikipedia page. Why is there no Skeery Wikipedia page?
I never created one because I'm not full of myself.
Well, Elvis has one, so what are you thinking?
That doesn't mean people who have wiki pages are full of themselves, but it's more like I don't have, I just never took the time out. It was never important to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sorry, somebody didn't do it. Not even just you, but some fans. You have a lot of people that love you.
So what are we doing here? We're recording?
Yeah. Yep.
That's
it's
awesome.
really just finding out how people, we mostly just do sequels, I'm sure, when Jamie reached out to you a bunch. And we've been talking to other people that aren't in movie sequels, different directors, actors, some comedians. So it's just really good to talk to other people to see what everybody has a story.
Well, my story begins in Brooklyn and, led me to Jersey City, so about 15 miles.
Yeah, not that far.
But I've always wanted to do radio. It was like my passion from the beginning. I took up radio in college. I interned at CBS FM, the oldies radio station at the time in New York City. And then I ended up doing other things like managing the college radio station. I got more and more into it, and I finally found that I couldn't live without it. So that's how I knew this is what I wanted to do. And I took a job at Z100 at 20 years old, junior in college, and just answering the request lines. Yes, that's back when people called radio stations nonstop.
No, I remember doing that in the early 2000s in high school. That'd be the thing to do, to call you guys up. And I remember one time calling up and thinking I'm so cool, and we were pretending I think I said that I was taking a bath or something, and obviously I couldn't see your reactions, but you guys are totally playing along. And then as soon as the call was over, you guys kind of ripped me a little bit, but it was pretty funny.
Why? What did we? Wait! I want to hear this.
I know, just how corny I was, because if we were 15-year-old kids, we probably smoking pot or something, but it was such a corny little thing that we thought was so funny on our end, and you guys were playing along, but as soon as it was over, it was what just happened?
That's okay. You're all is forgiven.
Thank you. So how did you come up? So I know you said you always worked in radio. Did you ever do a job as a telemarketer?
Never. I did absolutely
Michael Oppenheimer sounds like a lot of...
that Oppenheimer thing is basically because people would harass me. On my... I mean, you have to figure the relatable thing of, being, harassed on a phone every day by people. I'm like, this is a bit. Every time, because I would scream at them. I'm like, you know what? We make people angry on phone taps. I'm going to have at it.
Some of them are so good, just how, and it's true, because I've done telemarketing before, just some people, without even just saying hello. They're just angry. But some people are kind of welcoming in the beginning, but then the multiple calls back. And,
well, yeah, that's where we have to really, get creative. How do you make people angry?
So looking you up online, one of the videos that comes up, you were on Blind Date.
I was on
back.
Blind Date. Oh my God.
That's
I
on
remember
YouTube,
that.
So do you remember? It was so long ago. But do you remember what your turn on and your turn off was?
That was back in 2002. You're going back like 18 years.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. I don't even know. You're going to have
I don't
to
even know if
remind
it
me.
was just something that you really, but it was turn on was belly button. A turn off was hairy girls.
I guess, they wanted us to say some outrageous things to the camera, any way they could, so.
No, I know. That's what a lot of those shows were. So going back to the radio part, so you always wanted to do it. You used to call into the station. Now, if you were able to travel back in time and tell yourself, at 15, 16, because you really got into it at 20 working at Z100, would you be kind of blown away that you're basically heard on the radio all over the United States?
I never thought then that we would have reached such such success as we have now. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely.
So what year was that? When you were 20 and you started there, what year was that around?
That was 1995.
So yeah, you're able to do it in the biggest market in the world, and then just looking at all the places that the reach goes to, like states and cities wise, it's mind blowing that you guys.
Well, I try not to think about it because then I'll start freaking out.
Then you'll start freaking out. Because me and my wife moved out to Oregon, and it was like a big part of our drive in the morning. So we were able to. Right. It was on the radio there, but it didn't come in as great. So we just used the iHeart Radio app. But hey, you guys are great. Just how many people listen to you during the most important time of the day? Everybody's driving at that point.
Yeah. I mean, the show is, evolved. I mean, we've done so much over the years. I mean, I don't know how long you've been a listener for. You say the whole time.
Late 90s. I would say late 90s that I can remember it because my parents used to listen to it in the car too. So it was like always just listening to Z100.
Yep.
And it's stand the test of time. There's not a lot of stations that really are still, like in this area, I'm in New Jersey. So like a lot of the stations have changed call signs, but it's like Z100 is just never really changed too much. And I always had that one staple in the morning.
100%. And thank God we're still there today doing it. We're very lucky, very fortunate.
So on your IMDb, it has that you were in a movie called Meat Puppet. Is that right?
Oh, I don't even know. That was a director who had some kind of crazy project that they wanted to do. And it was like kind of one of those real, it was not a feature film. I don't know. I didn't even put that on there, and I didn't even know it was on there. But somebody.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, now you know. I know a lot of times radio people, their voices.
Well, we just lend our voices. We lend our voices to certain things, and that's what we did.
Yeah, because I'm sure I've heard Elvis is in a bunch.
Well, Elvis is in Die Hard 3.
Yeah, Die Hard 3, and I think Sharknado. He's in.
Yeah, briefly, he's in.
Yeah,
he's in there.
So what was it like to phone tap your mom? Was your mom okay with you afterwards?
Well, I think that's Greg. Oh, Greg T did that.
Oh no, it was you, wasn't it?
Well, Greg T phone tapped his mom a million times. I did phone tap my parents once or twice.
Yeah, I thought it was just you. They just did.
Maybe it was
for Mother's Day.
Oh yes, my Mother's Day phone tap. Oh, I love that. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot.
That was cool. Your Aunt Millie was a real team player and helped you out.
She is. Yeah, she's great. My Aunt Millie, she's knock on wood, still 95 years old and still a loud Italian woman from Brooklyn. We love that.
It was cool that she stayed on the line and she was in on it, and then your mom called her a liar.
Yeah, she half knew what we were doing. She was like, I'm like, just follow my lead. I'm playing a joke.
Yeah. It's cool to know that because a lot of times you don't know people's stories that you grew up in the area. I'm sure you mentioned on the show. and it's something you've always wanted to do? Because a lot of times I talk to people, they didn't always want to act or direct or write. Sometimes they accidentally got into it.
No, but somehow they just fell into it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But it's great. You had your eye on the prize the whole time, and you were calling in, so you had that experience, and then they had you doing the request line for a while. When did you become like the regular part of the show?
You know what? When Elliot left in 1999, left, Elliot was a big voice on that show, and it was basically Elvis and Elliot. And when he left, it enabled, there was like a void that needed to be filled, right? So there was, basically Danielle and Greg T and me. We all were given a little bit larger of a role, and then eventually Danielle became co-host. So, I thank Elliot, for, because he left, I, as a result, was able to get a little bit more notoriety. But, I've always been there producing the show, and, I've always been, part of, I've been that utility guy that people look to for answers.
Yeah. And you were still so young. That's still a big responsibility, but you were up for it because you always wanted to do it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, are you kidding me? I was super, I was super excited. And to this day, a day doesn't go by where I'm not humbled by the experience of being being part of this juggernaut, this huge beast that I built.
But that's cool that you still get that like giddy feeling before you guys, just appreciating what you do, because I think that's where people, they lose sight of it. And you could tell in the work that they produce that you guys just crush it every day.
Well, Elvis is masterful at what he does, and he's great at keeping people together, and he's the ringmaster, but he's also, in my mind, he's a philanthropist, and he's built this family, and you could tell, that we all do get along off the air as much as we do on the air.
And just from working together, obviously, but even with people that work with each other for a long time, there's this rapport, and all of you are so quick. So I think that's what makes the show so great.
You're talking about the chemistry.
Banter.
Yeah, the chemistry between all of us has only gotten better and stronger over the last few years. We all get along, and we all respect each other's positions, and that's it. That we're just we're very fortunate to have been able to do this for this amount of time.
Yeah, and I can see Elvis. He seems just like you, that he loves what he does. I can see him doing this for a long time, a lot longer.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. From your mouth to God's ears.
Yeah, that sounds like the guy Joe Beningo on WFAN. That's his famous phrase.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for taking the time, even a few minutes.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me today.
I'll try to call in again. My 16-year absence, and I'll make sure I don't bomb this time.
I think you're going to be fine. You'll do just well.
Man. All right.
A pleasure talking to you
so much.
You got it, man.
Bye.
All right, so that was Z100's Skeery Jones. Wasn't he awesome? Follow him on social media. I know he's on Twitter and Instagram, and it's Skeery, Skeery Jones on both. And yeah, give him a follow. And don't forget to follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. Review, rate, and share our podcast. And we just launched a brand new website, sequelsonly.com. Check it out. Good night.